Welcome to Sports World. Have your say. Now, Amanda's not feeling too well this week, so it's me, Mark Bright. Coming up, they may have scored the fastest El Classico goal, but have really closed the gap between Barca and themselves.
Obviously, we are not happy because if you lose, you are not happy. But we are feeling balanced and we know we still have a match to play.
Out of the Champions League and lots of chat about whether Manchester United's young guns are the real deal.
Why are England playing them? They're fantastic young players. They'll be the foundation of our club for years.
Not a bad first day at the office for Martin O'Neill, but not a great one for the blood pressure. And why one of the biggest talking points of the weekend is all about a pair of socks. Been really enjoying reading your tweets about what's now being called Sockgate. More on that later. You can also get in touch on Facebook or phone us. All the details are on the screen next to me. And as I make my debut in the presenting chair, my guest is also making his first appearance on the show. Think you recognise him? Well, we've been keeping it in the family. It's welcome to Hull City's Liam Rossini. His dad's at Sports World, Have Your Say regular Leroy. We'll be talking to Liam soon. First, though, let's get the world news with Peter. Welcome to Sports World, Have Your Say. Hull City's Liam Rossini is with me. Talking points today include Manchester United, Martin O'Neill, Andre Villas-Boas and Gary Neville, that little spat. Also, we're talking about Nicholas Anelka. We'll also ask, when does showboating cross the line? First, though, El Classico. On the line is Arthur, a Manchester United fan, who's in Bristol, and Jalal, I'm here from Kuwait. Good evening. Liam, start with you. El Classico. Do you see it? Enjoy it?
Oh, I always make sure I can watch a game of that quality. Being a professional footballer myself, I want to be the best I can be, and I think the only way you can prove is to watch the best. And I think at the moment it's easy to say they're the two best teams in the world, and I think they lived up to the billing.
Are Real Madrid closing the gap, though, on Barca? I mean, obviously, Barca top of the league at the moment on goal difference.
I think they are. I think obviously the game yesterday, Barcelona, they won the game, but the second goal, which I think was the crucial goal, was a deflection. And I think that the league table shows that it's going to be a lot closer this year. And I think Mourinho's done a great job there because Barcelona are an exceptional team. And hopefully it'll be really exciting and go down to the end of the season.
Mayor, you a Barca fan or Madrid? Barca or Madrid?
Barca.
Barca obviously didn't enjoy the game. You enjoyed the game. Obviously going a goal behind so early, Madrid. Did you think that it was Barca? It was excuse me, going a goal ahead.
Yeah, man, it was a shock. First 22 seconds, but I don't know. After the first 10 minutes, Barca reorganized themselves again, and I kind of believed that they're gonna score at least. Probably lose, probably win. But I was quite sure that they would score if they keep that performance.
This the best Barca team you've ever seen?
I think so. It is the best team in history, I believe. People, the opponents do not want. They hate to believe that, but I think it is by far the best team in history. Not because I support it, but it is, I think.
Jalal, can you overtake Barca and get back to the top? Jalal?
Yes, I hear you.
You're thinking. Take your time.
I think Real Madrid this year, their performance has been better, but
Oh, I'm sorry, boys. You know what? We can't hear you. We're going to try and get you back up. Liam, 8 players came through the Barca system, and I heard Guardiola just saying that that's why they're even more proud.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the way that Barcelona play is exceptional. I think that every young player who wants to learn the game should watch them. The way they express themselves on the football pitch, they pass the ball so quickly, 1 and 2 touch. And I think especially here in England, me being English, I think we've got a lot to learn from places like Barcelona and the Ajax youth system. They brought through so many good players through the years. And I'm sure it will continue. Their reserve team beat FC Barté in the Champions League 4-0. and I didn't think they had. I think every single player pretty much came through the youth system. They got fantastic setup there, and it's beginning to show in the results and the performances they put on the pitch.
Agree with all that. Let's hear from the Real Madrid manager, Jose Mourinho.
Estamos iguales de puntos.
The team is sad but serene. I said before the match that we were emotionally centred and that it would not be a victory that would leave us 6 points clear or a defeat that would unbalance us. Obviously we are not happy because if you lose you are not happy, but we are feeling balanced and we know we still have a match to play.
Not looking too happy there, Jose Mourinho. Let's hear what Pep Guardiola had to say.
I've never been to a match at the Bernabeu where you have it easy and where Real Madrid do not create opportunities. It doesn't happen like that. So what we have to do is to try to intimidate them as well, generate our own goal-scoring opportunities, and that's what we did. If you decide the match in the first 8 to 10 minutes, well, perfect. But overall, I'm more than delighted with our performance.
Pep Guardiola there, looking a lot more happier. Malik in India. Did you see the game?
Yeah, I saw the game last night.
Happy with the result?
I was moreover supporting Real Madrid to win yesterday, but I just have to say it was a game where Barcelona truly outclassed a team which is so star-studded and especially has an ex-Manchester United player. I was hoping that Real Madrid would put it this time. But again, fantastic play, and being a Man United supporter, I, for some odd reason, can never be somebody who likes Barcelona or somebody who can love the way Messi plays. So I don't know. Most of the match I saw Messi lying with his face right on the grass throughout the game. But I, in a way, truly believe that Cristiano Ronaldo had an off game. Had he being the main player, he probably the most deserving player to score last night. Had 2 clear chances which he could not make most of.
Now your team, Manchester United, out of the Champions League, lost in the Carling Cup as well to the little old Crystal Palace. Can't be too happy about what's going on there.
It's not about being too happy or being too sad about it. Yeah, it's like it's a loss which has devastated a lot of fans all across the world. I'm not going to deny any of it. But it comes down to this: what has the club given you over the years? Hundreds and hundreds of highs as opposed to some 3 or 4 odd lows. So it's all about backing your lads now. And we truly support Manchester United irrespective of the position we are in. We are still the strongest side to win the Premier League. We are probably the favourites to win the FA Cup as well, and maybe the Europa too.
The favourites to win the FA Cup? Haven't you drawn Manchester City?
I know we have drawn Manchester City away.
Did you lose to Manchester City as well?
We lost to Manchester City at home, but it's high time we got some payback. So I look at us as clear favourites to win it.
Well, the El Classico of Manchester, that one.
Yeah, truly. Always a red.
Arthur.
Hello.
Hi there. Are you in Bristol? Manchester United fan?
Yes.
Okay, so is the tide turning? Is it now Manchester City becoming the dominant force in Manchester and in the Premier League?
Well, it's still early days. We only had just a third of the season gone, but you see, the team who peaks this time, may not be consistent towards the end of the season.
Liam?
Yeah, I'm a Man United fan, so I'm with Malik from India there. I think that it's hard when you lose the likes of Van der Sar and Gary Neville and Paul Scholes last season. Not only were they great people on the pitch, but off the pitch they could give advice to the younger players. And you see a lot of younger players now like Chris Smalling, Phil Jones and Ashley Young have come into the team. It might take them 1 or 2 years to get used to the demands of being a Manchester United player, having to constantly win trophies. But Alex Ferguson is not a better manager in the world that can regenerate a team, reconstruct a team. He's done it 3 or 4 times in the past with great results, and I'm sure that they can do it again.
Well, Arthur, surely Manchester United have to spend money now in the January window.
Yes, they would be advised to strengthen the midfield a bit.
What about the defence, though? Because you've got players out defensively. Vidic is going to be out now. Is the goalkeeper good enough, De Gea?
Well, he needs matches, and if you alternated goalkeepers, so you don't get the consistency. So, with more games under the belt, he might be a better player.
Well, there's been talk of a clear-out, hasn't there? Talk of like Owen going, Berbatov going, Anderson going, and Fletcher as well.
Well, it's sometimes, you know, when you look at surplus to requirement, it's the manager knows best, you know, what he's got to do.
Malik?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Malik?
Yeah.
Some big signings needed, or you think the squad's strong enough to continue to challenge for the Premier League?
See, like I say, to replace a Van der Sar, to replace a Paul Scholes, I don't think any amount of money can replace such star players. After Peter Schmeichel, I mean, Manchester United took a lot of years in order to find a Van der Sar. So to even bring the amount of pressure, bring the amount of load on that, bring the amount of responsibility on a 19-year-old keeper, I think he's done fantastic for his age. He's come out on top. He has been there. He's a very good keeper with a lot of good talent. He just needs to come out with his own age. By the time he's 22, 23, he will be one of the top keepers.
But Malik, surely at Manchester United, you need the finished article. You don't need someone who's learning the game. This is Manchester United. You're looking to win everything.
I truly believe we need to spend in the January window and buy a central midfielder, buy a quality central midfielder. Every top team has a quality central midfielder. Be it Bayern Munich, they got Schweinsteiger. Be it Chelsea, they got a Lampard. We need a quality central midfielder who has a lot of creativity.
Okay,
and
well,
I think on the point of De Gea, I think he had a lot of massive shoes to fill with the likes of Edwin van der Sar going. And you say you want the finished article, which is definitely true with the likes of Manchester United. But at the same time, you need to give these players a few months to acclimatise to the English game. He struggled at first, but I think there's been a gradual improvement in his performances. And Alex Ferguson's not a bad judge of a player. I'm sure he'll come good in the end.
Well, let's hear from the Manchester United manager now.
I don't understand people doubting these players that have played for their country. Welbeck, Smalling and Jones have all played for England, so if they're not that good, why are England playing them? They're fantastic young players. They'll be the foundation of our club for years.
So I want to ask all three of you. Liam, can Manchester United win the Premier League, or will they?
I think they definitely can. Whether they do is another question. I think the emergence of Manchester City is a massive threat to them now. And the performances they've been putting in the Premier League have been outstanding. But they've only got the Premier League ready to go for now they're out of the European Cup. So I'm sure they can put out their strongest team week in, week out in the Premier League, and I'm sure that strongest team is good enough to pick up enough points to win it in the end.
OK, well, thanks for that, Liam. We're just going to take a little break and we'll be back shortly. Well, we've been talking about El Classico and we're talking about Manchester United as well. But one of the biggest talking points in the UK over the weekend is Sockgate. Well, it happened in the game between Reading and West Ham United. Liam, can you just explain to us what happened?
Yeah, I actually played for Reading with Jimmy Kebe, the culprit or the victim, whichever way you want to look at it. And I think Reading were 2-0 up at the time, and Reading were keeping the ball, and Jimmy was playing with his socks and showboating before passing the ball. And I think Jack Collison came in and gave him a bit of a nasty tackle and got sent off for it. And I think there's been a bit of uproar about it, whether showboating really has that much place in the game or whether we should be respectful at all times.
Right. What people on Facebook and Twitter have been saying, Liam, is what's the difference between what Jimmy Kebe did and a nutmeg? And players say nutmeg and put the ball through your legs and run the other way. What's the difference?
Well, I think the difference is you're doing something with the football. You're trying to win the game. When you stood with the football and you're pulling your socks up and you're playing against fellow professionals, it could come across a little bit disrespectful. And I think that's why Jack Collison retaliated in the way that he did. But in saying that, I don't think there's any room for bad tackles or violence on a football pitch at the same time. So I'm not condoning what Jack Collison did at all. But at the same time, I think a line needs to be drawn where you express yourself on the football pitch. People pay a lot of money to watch footballers express themselves. But at the same time, you have to have respect for your fellow professionals as well.
Well, let me ask you a question. Obviously, you'll come up against Jimmy Kebe. If he does the same to you, what would you do?
I would like to show him I'm around and I'm on the pitch, but I try and do that within the laws of the game. Getting sent off doesn't help your team, it doesn't help your teammates. And he gave away a free kick and actually scored from the free kick as well. So I think to be a professional, you've got to keep a clear mind at all times and make sure you're helping your team. Whether you want to react in a violent way or not, you need to make sure that you're doing the best for the team. And I think Jack Collison will be a bit disappointed in himself when he looks back on it.
Yeah. Well, there's been loads and loads of interest in this on Facebook and Twitter. A little bit earlier today, Brett tweeted me this message. It's hardly worth a scrape down the shin. I think it's exactly the same when a player shouts Megs and when they nutmeg someone. George, Reading fan, what did you think of it? Was it okay?
No, I don't think it was okay. I think an interesting point that hasn't really been raised by anyone yet is I think you need to consider also the context of the Jimmy Kebe situation at the moment. I mean, personally, I think the Kebe sort of little sock, I mean, it was a very foolish thing to do, but for me, I think that sock thing was just as much aimed at the Reading fans as any of the West Ham opposition. Jimmy is out of contract at the end of this season, and he isn't going to sign a new one. And the fans, to be honest, have been on his back, screaming blue murder at him for weeks. And yesterday he played very, very well in the second half. So I really do think that was as much to those who have been criticising him within our own fan base at the moment as it was to any of the opposition players.
But George, doesn't it cross the line of what's acceptable, you know, on sportsmanship? Isn't that taking the mickey out of foul professional?
Again, I mean, if it was aimed solely at the West Ham players, which I'm not convinced it was, then yes, I think it was.
Oh, it was aimed at them, totally.
Well, no, but like I just said, you have to consider the Kebe situation. I mean, a lot of people have been on his back in the crowd recently, and I think the socks thing about a lot of people have been shouting at him to pull his socks up. And I think that might be a little part of it as well.
Oh, I'm not having that at all. Liam, are you having that? The crowd shouting?
I don't think so. I know Jimmy very well. As you know, I played for Reading for a few years and enjoyed my time there. Jimmy's a fantastic footballer, and he doesn't need to show that level of a lack of respect on the pitch. All he needs to do is let his football do the talking. He's a fantastic footballer. I wouldn't be surprised if his contract's up at the end of the season. There's going to be a lot of teams interested in him, but I don't think they'll look too fondly upon his antics yesterday. But at the same time, the tackle was a poor tackle, and you don't want to see any of that. But Jimmy can nutmeg people and beat people. I've seen him do it many times, and maybe it's better sometimes to do things with the football rather than showboat without it.
Yeah. Malik, acceptable or not acceptable?
For me, it was not acceptable. Be it any opponent, be it how powerful, be it how big a club, you cannot be showboating out there irrespective of the goal margin. I mean, even if you're thrashing an opponent 6-0, 7-0, it's all about sportsman spirit, it's all about the sportsmanship. There is no room for cheekiness in a game of football, according to me.
Well, do you know what? On Twitter, people were saying football is entertainment. That was entertaining. The crowd cheered and they enjoyed it, so why shouldn't it be part of it?
Why should you insult your opponents? That's precisely the point. Hasn't like a 2-goal margin made them suffer enough to do all of that to add more salt to the wound? I mean, it's just unfair to say the least. It could be you on the other scoreline the next day. You never know.
George, what do you think about what Malik said?
I agree. I mean, if aimed solely at the West Ham players, then yes, it is across the line. But I mean, how Collison has escaped vilification in the media for that tackle is unbelievable. I mean, I've seen people say that's not a bad tackle. I mean, there's freeze frame. Any freeze frame pitch you look at, any video you look at, that is a horrendous tackle that far outweighs anything that Jimmy Kebe did on the pitch yesterday. Yeah.
It'd be quite interesting when Reading go down to West Ham, I think, Liam.
Yeah, for sure. It will be. But I think George is right. I think for all the things that Jimmy did with his socks, I think there's no room. Last season, I broke another player's leg and I felt terrible about it. And I didn't mean it. But when you go in with your studs up showing like that, you're putting people's careers in jeopardy, and there's no room for that in the game. And I know Jimmy was showboating, but at the same time, Jack Collison's tackle needs to be looked at in more depth rather than what Jimmy was doing.
Yeah, there was part of it I didn't like, because years ago when I was playing at Crystal Palace, we went away to Liverpool and we lost 9-0, and there wasn't a Liverpool player on the pitch who said anything or tried to make light of it in any way. They were very professional about how they performed, their performance. They had chances and they scored. They were ruthless. So there was part of me that thought, you know what, if they're right at the top end, the top players can be respectful, then I'm sure that in the Championship, someone like Jimmy Kebe can be.
Definitely.
Malik.
This is exactly the point that you made right now. It's exactly about that. Irrespective of the margin, you need to act like thorough professionals. This is not college football. It's not high school football where you can be showboarding or doing anything. It's professional football. There are millions of fans out there watching your team. today you are doing it to a player on the field. Maybe tomorrow some other fan might do it to some other fan on the streets. You never know.
Okay, well, Martin O'Neill was at his first game today. I think it's fair to say it was a good day at the office for him.
You know, you're looking at the clock, you think of 65 minutes, and you look at 70, you look at 75, and you're thinking, is it going to happen for us? Is this just another day in our history? But it was great. That's a fantastic equaliser, and the place lifted, absolutely lifted. And for Seb to get the winning goal, two great goals, David Vaughan and Seb were just magnificent. I thought both played very, very well.
Well, from a personal perspective, I'm really pleased that Martin O'Neill is back in work. Liam, good manager, great job for him. Obviously, it's a club he supported as a boy, so you know it's extra special for him to get that job.
Yeah, definitely. Like you, it was great to see him back with his trademark celebrations after they scored as well. And the ingredients are great. Every job he's been in, he's done a fantastic job there. And he supported Sunderland as a kid, so I'm sure he can do a good job for them as well. It's a massive club. They've got a great fan base, fantastic stadium. The setup's there for them to be pushing on and getting into a top 10 or top 8 in years to come. And I think he's the perfect man for the job.
So you don't think they'll go down, then?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. You
don't think Sunderland are in any danger of going down?
It's going to be interesting. The Premier League, you hear teams in the past say they've been too good to go down, but it's a hard league. I know that, and I'm sure you know that as well. It was a fantastic result for them today. A lot of players that I've known that play for Martin O'Neill says he gives a lot of belief and confidence to the players. And you can see that in the 2 goals they scored today. They were both outstanding bits of technique and skill. And when you've got a manager that gives you the confidence to go out and perform, that's what can happen. And I'm sure in the coming weeks and coming months, they're going to pick up a lot more wins with Martin as manager.
Do you think because he's a fan as well, it buys a little bit more time with the fans?
Yeah, I think not just that, but I think every football club has a different kind of culture and you understand what the fans want. Certain fans at certain clubs just want results. Certain fans at certain clubs want you to play in a certain way. So when you've been a supporter as a child of a football club, you know what the fans want and expect.
Speak to you in a minute. We've got lots more coming up. AVB, we're going to be talking about the Gary Neville spat, so stay with us. Welcome to Sports World, have your say. We've already been talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona, Manchester United, Martin O'Neill, as well as showboating. Those conversations continue on our Facebook page. Coming up, we're talking about Andre Villas-Boas and Gary Neville, as well as Nicholas Anelka going to China. Hull City's Liam Rossini is keeping me company, and you can get in touch all the usual ways. They're on the screen now. Let's pause for a latest roundup of the news. Thank you very much. People are getting in touch with us on Twitter. I just want to read a couple. Former QPR legend Mark Bircham, well, I'll say legend, he's tweeted, I was at the game. You know full well, Brighty, if you do that sort of thing, players are going to react to it. Also, Dan tweeted, what about the Rangers players years back who stood on the ball? Was that classed as skill? No, it wasn't. It's entertainment, and that's what we pay our money for. He's our Balotelli. That's a Reading fan for life. All these comments are talking about Sockgate, showboating. Jimmy Kebe we were talking about a little bit earlier. We heard from Martin O'Neill a little bit earlier. Let's talk to John, who's in Norway, a Sunderland fan. Happy with the appointment?
Yes, I am. I think he's truly a great manager, and he's going to be. I think he's going to be a good Sunderland manager too. I hope he can bring the same sort of success he had at Leicester and Celtic and Aston Villa to Sunderland, and maybe we can have a little bit more peace and look upwards towards the table now.
Would you say that he was successful at Aston Villa?
Well, he was top 6 3 years in a row, and he used a lot of money, and there was that, but I don't know, that kind of success or results would suit me fine, to be honest. I've had enough of relegation spats and being a yo-yo team. To establish Sunderland as a top half team would be tremendous, I think.
I was just going to ask you that. What would be acceptable for Sunderland fans? Because each and every year, the expectations grow from the fans. So are you saying that you'll be happy with a top half finish and maybe a good run in the Cup?
Well, this season, definitely. I think we want to see progress. We had a little bit of that with Steve Bruce, and so I feel a bit bad for him for being let go. But it's if we could get to establish ourselves as a top half team I mean, from say 5th till 10th in the Premier League, and have a good cup run, which we haven't had in ages, then we can start to look upwards and see if we can maybe have 1 or 2 seasons where we challenge the really big teams, and then who knows what can happen from there on in. Yeah, sure, I would love that.
Can I just say as well, I mean, I think it was this time last year you had Darren Bent, Danny Welbeck and Asamoah Gyan all scoring goals. You don't really have a goal scorer at the moment. Bentner's not really doing it, so what's going to be the answer?
You're absolutely correct, and to be it's what Martin only needs to do now, or Ellis Short, or we need to get a proven striker. As you said, last year, this season, we had Welbeck, we had Bent, we had Gyan, and you need to probably go the extra mile to get that kind of player. Certain like Darren Bent, you were always intense. Something happened, if you were a dire 0-0 game, you could always get a goal. So, yeah, we need somebody like that. Maybe, you know, after a while, the Ryan Noble, I've heard so much about him that he can be that kind of player, but he's only 19, so we can't really depend on him or Connor Wickham now. They're so young. We need a proven striker.
Yeah, well, I played with Connor Wickham actually at Ipswich for a year, and he's got unbelievable talent and ability, and his stature and his size for his age is something really special. But I think there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders today. He was the only real recognised striker that Sunderland had, and he was taken off after between 60 and 70 minutes today. It's a lot of pressure for a young lad to have on his shoulders to score goals, and I think that's definitely something that Martin O'Neill will be looking at in January to improve the team and improve the squad and get more goals into the squad, because that's something that's definitely gone since Darren Bent and Gyan have left the football club.
I totally agree. I really look. I think Connor Wickham has grown immensely, and I followed him a little bit at Ipswich as well, and I think he's fantastic. I think he's a great signing. I think he's going to be worth a lot more than the £8 million we paid for him. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to it in the coming years to having a great player. But as you said, the youngster to be our leading the attack. We need somebody experienced.
Definitely.
Liam, do you think because obviously Martin O'Neill's first game in charge, the crowd reacted differently to the team, because under Steve Bruce they've been putting the team under a lot of pressure. That can only be a good thing for young players such as Connor Wickham. Yeah, definitely, and young Jack Colback in midfield as well is another one I was with at Ipswich who had a very good game today. I think when a new manager comes into a football club, it generates a really good atmosphere, a sense of togetherness between the fans and the players, and I think that helped the players towards the end of the game. The difference in the atmosphere between that game and the Wigan game a couple of weeks back, when Wigan scored in the last minute to win the game, was a marked, dramatic difference. And when you're a player on a pitch, it makes a massive difference when the fans are behind you to the end of the game. Yeah. Malik, you're in India. Obviously, the owners of Blackburn Rovers are the Venkis. It's not looking good for them.
Yeah, it's very sad to see the route that Blackburn Rovers has taken, but over the period of time, I expect them to not get relegated this time around. I expect them to spend some money in January. Ideally, at least pick up 2-3 players for odd 10-15 million in total of spending, and maybe they could be at a better position. I really don't want them to get relegated this season. Not for the fact they have been getting goals. To really be honest, they scored 2 against Wigan. They have scored a lot of number of goals. Formika, Yakubu, they have been in great form. But again, the defense is like beyond horrible, and they have truly missed Nzonzi over the last 2-3 games, which he returns the next game week. I expect them to pull up their socks. I expect them to win some games, but truly to watch them and fight for relegation is not something that any of us expected, to really be honest. Neither did the Venkis, and it's just that a decision that they have to take if they really wish to spend that much amount of money to pull them from a position, from the slump that they are in right now. Well, lots of people over here just expected Steve Keane to lose his job just purely on the amount of games they lose. So do you think, in hindsight, sacking Sam Allardyce when they first took over was a wise move? I think Steve Keane is a better manager than Sam. I truly feel he's a better manager. And truly, looking at the number of games they have lost, under Sam, they never scored as much as they do right now. So it's just truly a defensive decision they need to take as to, just need to get their tactics right. They are a good team. They are a hard-working team. And they surely have been scoring, so they can score more goals.
Yeah. Liam, Steve Keane, really under pressure now. Yeah,
it's weird. We seem to be talking about people I know really well. One thing about Steve Keane that I know is that he's a great coach. And he was my coach at Fulham. He was assistant manager, and tactically and technically he was very good. Maybe he doesn't have the stature of Stan Allardyce on a touchline. I don't know, but I think if you give people time, he has lost a lot of games. But if you look at his squad today, there's a lot of young players being thrown in, especially at the back when you need a lot of experience. Sorry. Yeah. And basically, I think you give him time and a bit of money, I think he could do a good job for Blackburn.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the top of the table. See who's where. There we go. Manchester City play Chelsea tomorrow. It should be a good game. Stoke City climbed to 8th with that good win today over Tottenham. And Norwich there, creeping into the top 10. Let's have a look at the bottom. Oh, dear. Bolton Wanderers. I mean, I think they've lost something like 13 out of 15. Swansea just... 11th, great for them, just get promoted. Great for QPR as well. Sunderland climbed to 16th with that important win today. OK, we'll be talking lots more about AVB and the Gary Neville spat after the break. We'll see you in a minute. Well, there's been a bit of a spat going on with AVB. Andre Villas-Boas, the Chelsea manager. Now, I was at the game against Valencia where he came out after the great win and he really had a go at the press. He said that Manchester City, they're media darlings, and he wasn't too happy about the coverage that Chelsea were getting. Mark in Paris, welcome. Are you a Chelsea fan?
Yes, I am. It's die-hard Chelsea fan. OK,
so do you think the press are unfair to Chelsea?
Yeah, that's the press. They take you up and they bring you down. Once they take you up, you are happy. Once they bring you down, you have to face it.
I don't think the press have been that hard on him. I think they quite like Andre Villas-Boas.
Yeah, but we should give him some time. He has been in the club just for like 4 months now, and he haven't had all the players he wanted. He wanted to buy, for example, Modric, but he did not have Modric, and we have some key players like Michael Essien that is injured. Mm-hmm. So we should give him a lot of time. I think he's a good guy. As we said, he's a special too. Working we want to be like Jose Mourinho.
Well, Mark, the thing is, he inherited a very good squad. The squad came second. You're thinking with a change of tactics, as opposed to a change of personnel, he would have done a lot better.
What do you mean when you say he inherited a very good squad? He came second. Like, during Mourinho's era, we did we did very well. And last season we didn't win anything. Come on, we are not happy.
Is he right though? Is he right to have a moan at Gary Neville? I mean, Gary Neville is a pundit. He's paid by a company, a TV company, to give his opinion. So Gary Neville was giving his opinion. Should AVB getting involved?
Pardon? Didn't get you.
You didn't get it. Liam, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Is the manager right to start having to go at pundits? You know, because pundits are part of the game. They're usually ex-players with a wealth of experience and paid to give their view.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something very clever that Villas-Boas is doing. I think he's deflecting a lot of attention away from the football club and trying to develop a siege mentality within the group. When you do that and you say to your players that a lot of people are against you, they want you to do badly, it can work as a good motivating tool. And someone who's used that a lot down the years was Sir Alex at Manchester United. And I think Andre Villas-Boas is trying to do the same thing at Chelsea. He's trying to use play psychological mind games with his own players and also with the press. Yeah. I think it's a very clever thing to do.
Well, in a press conference, Andre Villas-Boas described Gary Neville's criticism of his Chelsea side as ridiculous. I'm normally indifferent, not watching on the television to see what these people say, but I was watching the television at that moment, and I was gobsmacked. You cannot approach a top Brazilian central defender saying he's commanded by a kid with a PlayStation. That is ridiculous. That's obviously what he thought. Malik,
Yeah, I'm here.
AVB, wrong to get involved in a little spat with Gary Neville, or he's right?
He's right to defend his players, but he's wrong to call a pundit stupid. I mean, that is the comment. You don't describe somebody who has played 602 games for a club. He's represented his nation for more than 75 games. You cannot call a pundit a stupid person. You cannot call him a stupid man. Yeah, defending your players is the right thing to do. Defending your players is what you're supposed to do. You're the manager.
Do you think it shows he's under a bit of pressure?
Yeah, it shows he's under a lot of pressure. I mean, there were talks about he will be the next one to get sacked after their defeat to Liverpool by 2 goals. So I just feel in a way he's cracking. He's 34-year old. I mean, there are players who are elder than him that were still playing. So I expect him to be the one who will crack under pressure. And in a way, when Chelsea signed him, they were looking for the next Mourinho. Yeah. Considering he was called the golden boy after Mourinho to be the one who will be one of the greatest managers. So I expect him to. There was a lot of expectations when he came in. He bought a lot of good players. He brought Raúl Meireles back under him. He pulled back Joan Mata. I mean, from Valencia. I mean, there were a lot of big moves that he made. A lot of big money is riding right now on Chelsea to perform, to win, to at least qualify for Europe, if nothing else. And if they lose in cup games and they don't even qualify up till semi-finals or finals, I mean, it's obviously going to be a way in which he will feel the pressure. And
you're right there. You're definitely right there. I think that basically, when you are Chelsea manager, you have to expect pressure, whether you win or lose. As soon as you start losing games as a manager at Chelsea, you have to expect the media to be on your case. And I think he understood that when he took the job. But I think he's using this opportunity to try and create a sense of unity within the squad that he has, and try and get the results, especially starting with Manchester City tomorrow night.
Well, when you make the worst start of any Chelsea manager under Roman Abramovich, you're expected to get criticised, Mark.
I don't expect VBA to be intimidated or what. I think Mr. Roman Abramovich still believes in him and will give him a little bit more time to do his work. He brought a couple of good players, like Raúl Meireles, as the guy from India said, and the other guy from Valencia. They are all playing good football and the team is moving a little bit.
Well, he's got a problem, obviously, with Fernando Torres, a £50 million problem that he's not scoring goals, he doesn't look confident, he looks a shadow of his former self. Didier Drogba's in the team and playing well. How's he going to fit Torres into this team now?
He did not buy Torres. He came and met Torres, so he has to look for a way to fit him in the team. If he doesn't match, okay, we put him on business. There are other big teams who are interested to put their £1 million on his head. We have City and other teams who are ready to get him.
Yeah.
Go on, Liam.
Yeah, I think that like Manchester United are going through a period of change. I think Chelsea are as well. I think Lampard, Drogba are coming close towards the end of their careers. And Villas-Boas is bringing in people like Mata and younger players into the squad. And it takes time again. Whether he gets that time is up to Abramovich. But I think that if he's given the time, then maybe he could get results for Chelsea. But I think this whole spat with the media and Gary Neville is to take a lot of pressure away from him and a lot of spotlight away from results and put it back towards Gary Neville and the media.
Yeah, if you just, for me, my personal view is Chelsea really played at their best, I felt, when they had sort of like Aaron Robin on one side and Duff on the other, with players who play in the wider positions who've got pace. If you look at Manchester United, you know, you'd have to say that, you know, Ashley Young provides that, you know, Adam Johnson for Manchester City, just players who can go past people and change the game. And I don't feel Chelsea have any players who go past. Mata's very skillful and he's a lovely player. He doesn't go past people on the wing, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. As a fullback, I'm a fullback, and I hate playing against wingers with pace because they can hurt you and they can get crosses in and assists and goals. If you look at Manchester United goals last night, I think all 4 came from crosses. Nani and Valencia getting down the wings and putting balls in the box. And I think that is definitely something that Chelsea lack.
Yeah, Arthur, Nicolas Anelka looks like he's going to Shanghai. A good move for him or a bad move?
No, it'd be a good move for him because he will bring improvement, you know, to the Chinese side.
Mm-hmm. When I was at Charlton just before I retired, the Chinese national team, they were touring around the world playing games, and we played them on the training ground, and I thought technically they were fantastic, very strong, very physical. and they were just gaining experience, travelling around the world, playing all the best teams. So, do you think this is just a money move for Nicholas Anelka?
Well, a bit of both, because he has got talent, and the Chinese is a great believer in paying for talent. I'll give you an example. Back in my time, when Pele was an icon, I mean, the Chinese national side has excelled on his bicycle kick. So maybe, you know, I mean, time is progress, you know, and he might have something better to offer, i.e. Beckham to the LA Galaxy.
Well, Mark, will you be sad to see the back of Nicholas Anelka?
Yeah, certainly I will miss him. He did a lot of great things for Chelsea. I love to watch him play, but unfortunately, with the new manager and the new playing style in Chelsea, his talent does not really fit into the team anymore, and I would not like him to always sit on the bench. And I think it's a very good move for him to move to China. The Chinese leveled a huge sum on his head, and I think the sum is equivalent to his talent. He deserves it. He's not getting any younger. His age is not on his side, so I think that will be a best form for him to retire.
Yeah. Ewan, a Newcastle fan, you could do with a couple of extra strikers, surely. Nicholas Anelka?
Well, I think we could definitely do with the strikers. I believe that Nicholas Anelka, I don't know if he'd be the right player for our team. At the moment, obviously, Mike Ashley and our scouting lads are looking at bringing people who are younger, definitely not who would be paid as much as Nicholas Anelka. They want to sort of bring in players that we can nurture on the training ground as such.
Well, actually, on Twitter, there's lots of comments about Nicholas Anelka, and, you know, under the hashtag, I think, mercenary. You know, do you think he deserves that?
To an extent, I think that he probably has personal reasons, possibly, for moving to China. I mean, it's not an uncommon thing for people to want to live in Asia and experience an entirely different culture. And if that's part of the reason he wants to move, then fair play to the man. Yeah. But I do see that money's possibly a very big part of the move.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think football's a global game, and sometimes we can get stuck in the Premier League and be quite insular. But the fact that a team in China are willing to pay Nicholas Anelka a massive sum of money to play for them shows how highly regarded he is. And it is just a great experience for him. He's coming towards the end of his career. He's had a fantastic career. He's a fantastic player. And maybe raising the profile of the game in China is something that needs to be done, because we need to remember football's a global game, and it's not just a European or South American game.
Ewan, you had a great start to the season. You've just hit the rocky patch. I think you've lost 2 out of the last 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Lots of injuries as well now. This is a big test for Alan Pardew.
I think it is. We've had the injuries, and we've been very unlucky with the injuries that they've come to our defenders, which is really a very integral part of our team at the moment. But I think in January he's going to have some money to spend. Hopefully we'll be able to keep a hold of the players that we need to keep hold of. Cheick Tiote, Demba Ba, we'll be able to keep hold of them and bring in some more people, another striker, a couple of defenders for squad depth, really. And then I think we can easily challenge for a top half finish, certainly this season.
Good deal now, wasn't it, getting rid of Andy Carroll?
I've got no complaints about that, not at all. If you look at the statistics, they paid over £1 million for every goal he ever scored for us at a senior level. You can't complain about that. No.
We're disappointed to see Joey Barton go, because I thought when he went and Nolan went, I thought, oh, I'm not too sure about that. It's a lot of experience.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think when Kevin Nolan, and again with Joey Barton, when they left, I thought it's going to be an issue. But I think some of the players we've got in, Johan Cabaye, for example, they filled the shoes very well. I mean, he's proven himself to be a very capable player. Joey Barton, yeah, he's obviously been missed by the team, but I think especially some of the lads we brought in.
Thank you very much, Ewan. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop you there. Thank you very much. Liam, Rosina, thank you very much. Malik,
thank you.
Thank you very much. This was my debut on here. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy it myself. But lots of stuff still going on. Please look on the Facebook page and tweet us as well. Have your say. Thank you very much for having me.